So, rainy season has started in Panama. See, it's not doing what I wanted to do. I tried. Um, and it's cool. It feels like I only had like 3 months of dry season, and now it's going to be rainy season until basically the end of the year. Like, okay, it's a little wild for sure. Um, but it does have me thinking about the rainy seasons in our relationship and our relationships and how they can cloud our judgment and have us questioning everything. And yeah, and even in my own season, my own rainy season, that wasn't just a moment here and there. I remember the thoughts. I remember the emotional rush of it all, and sometimes the cognitive, irrational thoughts. And look, I'm not even saying as a married person, as a marriage coach, that everybody is supposed to and everybody is going to weather their storms. But I do believe that most things are figure outable. Now, there are a lot of factors when it comes to that. And I want to talk about them. But I do believe that. So just like, even if you disagree, laying the framework from which the lens that I'm, looking out from. I believe that most things in the relationship are figure outable and that many of us are going to have some version of a rainy season where we have doubts and we question. I know for me, story time, there was a season as brand new parents when Austin gotten laid off. We were handling a newborn. We were dealing with financial issues that had led to bankruptcy at the time. We had to move out of our apartment that we'd been living in for 5 years. And when we finally got to a new place and we had support, living with my mom, it was kind of the ships that passed in the night situation. And even when we were together, we were talking about logistics. He was exhausted and spent. I was exhausted and spent. And we were not putting in the same effort that we used to put into each other. And I remember asking him one day when he came home, sitting in the Barca lounger, turning on the TV to watch it, to decompress, to relax. And I'm sitting there kind of alone with my own thoughts, mustering up, am I going to say what's on my mind, or is this going to be something I say and then things go left and it gets uncomfortable and it doesn't go the way that I'd like it to go? And I was just like, I miss you. And I feel like, what are we supposed to do with that? You can't keep going like this. It doesn't feel connected. It doesn't feel like we're there for each other in the ways that we have been. And in that moment, all he didn't know, he's like, I don't know what to tell you, kind of thing. And I remember thinking, like, is this it? Are we like done? Are we heading towards, separate? Like, and the crazy thing is, even though it was a season, I hadn't thought those thoughts before, even though we'd had our fair share of disagreements that we worked through. But in that moment, for him and I, it was like, this has felt like this for such a season that the doubt and the questions are creeping in. And I didn't really know how to make it better besides sharing what I had shared, besides letting him know that I missed him. And he didn't know either. And I remember going in the back room and crying as silently as I could because I didn't really want him to come in the room, but I think part of me also wanted him to come in the room. And he didn't. And when I could finally stop sobbing, I remember I sent him a text message. I don't remember what the text said. It was long, but I just got everything out, but I was talking from his perspective instead of mine. And I put myself in his shoes and I just let him know what I saw in him and I sent it. And I was finally able to drift off to sleep. And I remember that night because he must have read it. He just came into the room and laid down and, Big Spoon cuddled me. And when we woke up in the next morning, we knew that something had shifted and something was different. And we were going to do what we needed to do to reconnect. And we did. We talked it out. We got serious about the actions that we wanted to take. We recentered ourselves. We talked to somebody else who helped give us counsel. And all of that became our way of, all that together became our way of figuring it out and weathering the storm. But man, like the fact that calamity can sometimes be our thought and where our brain goes when it gets really difficult in the relationship. And there are some seasons that can feel really difficult. And a lot of times it's outside stressors coming in and how we're reacting to them. And we want to just react to them. And the closest person to us that we can react to them with are our partners. But back to me saying that I feel that most things are figure outable. Because even though in my brain I was thinking, like, is this it? Are we done? Because I can't do this no more. I really just couldn't do it like that anymore. So we had to figure out how it was not going to be like that. And most people mean that. Most people mean like, most of us mean like, we say we can't do this, we're talking about the way the relationship is in the moment and not necessarily the relationship itself. Why do I think most things are figure outable? Because most things can be worked through with deeper understanding, connection, and communication. And it may sound cliche, but it's true, right? There are ways that we communicate, there are layers to this, but most things can be figured out in that way. And so, yeah, that's why I would say that most things are figure outable. However, there are factors. Are both of you willing to figure it out? Are both of you willing to look at what it is that you contributed to the issue, right? Are we ready to look at, oh, that was me? And they point something out and you're like, you know what? You're right. That's true. I do that. I did do that. I did take that for granted. I did enable you in this way. I did enable myself. Whatever it is, what did you do to contribute to the issue? Are we really, really ready to be open to that and to figure that out and to change our own actions and to shift, not because we're fundamentally changing who we are, but because we're growing and becoming. And we truly feel like if we do this, it's going to be better, not just for the relationship, but for us. Those factors need to be addressed for you to figure it out. And sometimes you have to also be in a space like, if I haven't figured it out on my own, maybe I do need somebody else to figure this out. And I'm not coming from that place just because I'm a marriage coach. I'm just saying that's just the real. Like, sometimes we've got to talk to somebody, and that's okay. I know we're taught like not to air out our dirty laundry, but sometimes it's good to air out your dirty laundry to someone who can help you get it clean. If somebody just gonna keep it dirty and stomp on it, maybe not. But for someone who can help you clean it, air out that dirty laundry because it's gonna be warm and smelling good on the other side. Can you tell I love an analogy? I'm hitting analogies hard, but it's all good. But ultimately speaking, we can and are able to figure these things out. We can and are able to weather the storm. And the storm and the clouds will have us forget what is possible in our relationship and what we're capable of our relationship, and not looking to what we already have done and what we've already weathered through and what we truly want to be capable of with a little bit of guidance or with a little bit of time or a little bit of space or whatever it is that's needed in the moment. But it's possible. It's possible to weather the storm. It's possible to go through a storm and come out of it stronger, with more understanding, with more respect of each other, with more appreciation for each other, and more confidence that the relationship can actually weather more storms. Because once you've gotten through a storm, you're like, oh, I could do it. Okay, because if a tornado is coming, I'm going to question it. Okay, I'm like, look, we're not in Kansas anymore, Auntie Ann. So what we gonna do? But if you survive and you move through it and you get through it and then you feel like you're thriving, then you know it's possible even more so. And you have more confidence in the relationship to do it. And that happened to me, to do it again. I was like, okay, we got through this. Oh, We can move through any season. Come on now. Come on, confidence in the relationship. Like that's like genuinely how I felt. So when people say, "Oh, we felt stronger on the other side," a lot of times when it comes to words, I'm like, what you mean by stronger? How do you feel stronger? But you feel tighter. You feel more like a team. You feel like it is possible for us to move through something big if and when it happens in our relationship. And if you're like in it for life, it's inevitable that something is going to come up that is going to be a challenge. Something's going to come up where you're going to bump heads, in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be loud and bold or boisterous. It can be quieter, but there is a sense of we go through our seasons, our moments, whatever, a feeling like we're disconnected, a feeling like we're not on the same page, a feeling like we're not necessarily hearing each other fully. And in that lies opportunity. And for me, I'm so grateful for the mindset. Like what I'm sharing is just like what was going through my mind, what goes through our minds, what we have a tendency to do. This may not be you, but if it is you, you know what we have a tendency to do, what we have a tendency to imagine, the catastrophes, everything breaking down because we have lost sight of what's possible in our relationship. And we've lost sight of just stripping down and looking at this as an opportunity to see, can we get through this thing? Because if we can get through this thing, we're about to be a force to be reckoned with together. That's what you really want on the other side. Not no arguments or no rough seasons or no rainy seasons, but the confidence that you can get through any of those seasons. That is worth its weight in gold. That was huge for me. And it's huge for anyone who's in a season. Remember what's possible, or at least start to think on and consider what's possible, and then drop into in what ways can this be an opportunity to strengthen the bond, to strengthen the connection, or to recreate it, or to mend it, depending on where you are in your relationship, right? So, yeah, thank you, rainy season, for inspiring and sponsoring this video. No, not really. Um, but it was definitely a catalyst and got me thinking. And I'm grateful for the inspiration in unlikely places, even natural, weather patterns in Latin America. So thank you so much for listening. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you having this conversation with me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you know that you want to have more intention and have resources and tools at your disposal to be able to create more connection and be able to confidently communicate through anything, meet me in the description. And if you like these kind of conversations, if this is your vibe, then please subscribe. Continue to go on the journey with me. I'm Imani Aisha. I'm here with you every day, fostering these conversations. I appreciate your time yet again. I know I said that, but can't appreciate that enough. And I'm going to see you tomorrow.